Hello, and welcome to the Empress podcast. I am your host, Jessica, known in the online space as Jess the Empress. I started this podcast to help you be present with yourself, cope with chaos, and simplify your life. I do this by combining psychology, behavioral science, and the tarot. I have a background in mental health, specifically a master's in clinical social work from USC, and I'm a professional tarot reader. So get ready to have a nurturing, creative, and empowering experience with me as we use practical magic. Hey, hi, hello, besties. Welcome back to the podcast. It's your girl, Jess. I am happy to be here today. We're going to get into the collective tarot reading for the month of July. I don't know about you, but just as a side note, I am so stoked that it's summertime. Although here in San Diego, we have this thing called May gray and June gloom. It's killing me. What that is there's a marine layer that kind of floats over us in this area that I live. For most of the morning, it doesn't burn off or clear up until, I don't know, anywhere between like 12 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I wake up and it's just like gray skies most of the time. But today the sun started to peek out around 1 and I'm so grateful for it. I was outside for a little bit catching some rays, but hopefully your summer has been starting off really, really good. So as I was shuffling my tarot cards, the King of Swords popped out. And that is what we're going to be getting into the month of July. It seemed like a very easy thing. There wasn't anything I had to really focus on. I didn't ask the question in a deep way. I was just thinking in my head like, oh, I wonder what the vibe is going to be. And the King of Swords literally flew out. So let's talk about it. I'm going to paint the picture of the vibe for the King of Swords, okay? The King of Swords doesn't rush. He doesn't perform. He speaks with clarity because he's already taken the time to listen, not only to others, but to himself, his needs, and his body. This is the kind of insight that we're talking about today. It's not the kind that's reactive, right, or that's super rushed, or the type of insight that's performative, which we see a lot of that online. But this is the type that comes with a really quiet inner authority, really knowing what your truth is and being able to share that. The King of Swords is not afraid to name what is true for himself, right? Whatever his experiences are, his thoughts are, whatever's going on inside of him, he's not afraid to vocalize that, even if it's uncomfortable, right? Even if he feels uncomfortable expressing it, or even if other people are uncomfortable hearing it, the King of Swords will say something. And one of the reasons why the King of Swords is able to do that is because he trusts himself to stand in what it is that he is saying, even exploring, expressing. That really is the gift of clear insight. You don't just know what's right for you, you trust yourself to live it. Another way that we can describe clear insight is when our thoughts, our feelings, and our body, they're all aligned. They're not fighting each other. So this is like a moment when something just really clicks with us and we don't really have a fog that we're navigating. This is when all of the noise quiets down and we just really can hear ourselves clearly. So one of the takeaways with clear insight is knowing that it doesn't just live in your brain, it's embodied through every single part of you. It exists somewhere deeper than just the mind. You might feel it in your chest. You might feel it in your gut. Think about those aha moments or a time when you were like, oh yeah, that's what I needed to hear. It's that type of energy I'm talking about that is a clear insight moment. I'm going to share 2 examples about clear insight, and it's going to be comparison examples. So the first example is going to be a time when I did not have clear insight, and I'll explain why I didn't. And then I will have another example of when I did have clear insight and why I did. Before I became a life coach, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do in the field of social work, and I really wasn't that sure. And I kept asking everybody like what they were doing, how were their interview processes going, like where should I apply? I was just kind of all over the place. And I kept focusing on like, maybe I have to learn more. Maybe I need to do more things. Maybe I should go this route or that route. I just had a lot of ideas. And then life got really stressful for me. Post graduation was like super wild. I ended up, because I couldn't find something or I didn't know what I wanted to do, I ended up just working at Target for a little bit until I got grounded and figured out the path that I'm on now. But I was spiraling quite a bit. And I would say stuff like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, or I think I'm going to do this, but I don't really know. So that narrative was a lot of hesitation. It was a lot of self doubt. But I also was taking in a lot of information from everywhere, just trying to figure things out. And that's another way I knew that I had really lost track of clear insight. I was trying to figure everything out. So then I decided to take a step back. I'm like, look, let me just surrender to this Target situation. Let me see what I can do online with tarot readings. And then that's actually when things clicked. When I started to take time to listen to what I wanted to do, not what I thought I should do, based on the fact that, yes, I just graduated with a master's in social work, so I should go into the social work field. But that didn't really honestly align with me. So I thought, okay, like this tarot reading, it makes me feel good. I love helping other people. I'm bringing so much of what I learned in school into my sessions with my clients. There's something here. So the more I slowed down and the quieter I got, the better I was able to pay attention to the fact that I was being pulled in that direction, that I just knew intuitively that my insight was shining through, that I wanted to follow the path of being a life coach and tarot reader, having my own podcast, and doing everything that you're seeing me do now. And I know to this day that when I get really sped up in my own mind and I'm trying to figure everything out frantically, that I'm actually not in a very insightful place. I'm actually lacking a lot of insight. And what I need to do is pay attention to my body. I need to nurture myself. I need to calm myself down. I need to soothe a little bit so that I can hear what I really need to hear, because I trust myself. Of course, I step out of that from time to time, as we all do, but I hope that this helps you in recognizing maybe when you get sped up a little bit and you start to step out of clear insight and you actually end up stepping into some confusion because you're trying to figure everything out at one time instead of just trusting yourself and listening moment by moment, step by step. And that's really the thing, right? It's like falling into reaction. And so many of us do this. It's like so easy to do it because we're conditioned to do it. We're conditioned to chase the shiny things, to be pulled into a sense of urgency, whether it's someone else's sense of urgency or it's this sort of vague sense of urgency because we haven't quite figured out how to manage the feelings of uncertainty that we're experiencing. And that's just so important to be aware of. The other thing that clear insight does is that it allows us to pause, it allows us to breathe, and it allows us to remember that we have choices. And then we can choose wisely from that place of remembering that we actually have choices, and probably way more choices than the ones we think we have when we're in that super rushed or urgent space. And this is so important when we get the King of Swords, because this can represent the mind either working for us or against us, because with a sword, that does represent thinking, mindset, listening. It's ruled by air. And so whether you're doing an astrology reading, an energy reading, or a tarot reading, know that when a sword comes up, you're talking about air, or air is the vibe / the energy that you're really getting into. And the shadow side of the King of Swords is that tendency to overthink or to use intelligence as a shield. And what I mean by that is you get very cold, you get very rigid. You might try to dominate everything in your life via the mind, thinking that you can control everything, and then thinking you can just think your way out of your feelings or think your way out of your think your way out of your problems. That's not always the case, right? When the King of Swords is in its most aligned self, it is a very spacious energy. It's wise. It can say, yes, I have to set these boundaries. Maybe I have to set these things aside so that I can listen to my body, but I trust myself. Like the boundaries that the King of Swords sets are very loving boundaries. They're kind and compassionate boundaries. They're not those rigid, emotionally detached boundaries. The other really cool lesson from the King of Swords is that the mind is meant to support the heart, not to control the heart. I have a lot of clients in readings that are like, my heart and mind are at odds. And if I could only just think my way out of what I feel. And it's like, no, you can't. You have these two entities, these two energies within you, right? Your mind and your heart. They need to work in unison. Again, going back to being in alignment and focusing on getting all of that on board. It requires a little bit of skill, but we're going to get into what those skills are. And I wanted to also just talk about what happens when we're in clear insight and what clear insight gets us. We have an inner steadiness. We don't shut down, again, and going into that rigidity. And shutting down can also be numbing out. We have confidence, but we don't need to prove anything. We don't need to over-explain. We don't need to manipulate with our words. We don't need to think about how we can rope people in and control them. We're just confidently going to share what it is we're thinking, we're feeling, we want, and then we're going to take it one step at a time from that place. And we also have motivation that's a lot more sustainable because the motivation is coming from a clear and aligned place. It's not motivated by everyone's else sense of urgency, or again, that vague sense of urgency that might float over us, when things aren't very clear to us. And it's okay that things aren't clear to us. Things aren't clear to me a lot of the times, but what I do from that place, instead of trying to be certain about everything, I focus on what I do know, and then I look at what I don't know, and then I say, okay, I'm going to build from here. Here's what I do know. Here's what I don't know. I need to gain more information in this area, but then I also need to check in with my body to see how do I feel, right, about this as I'm gaining more knowledge. Does it still sound like it's the right direction for me to go in? Does it still feel like it's the right direction for me to go in? Another way to tell that you are in a space of clear insight, or the King of Swords, is when you're facing challenges and maybe you do kind of fold a little bit. Maybe you do kind of get overwhelmed because, like I said, that happens to everybody. So this is not about like avoiding getting overwhelmed or avoiding stumbling. What is going on as you're maybe getting overwhelmed or as you're stumbling is also an inner narrative of like, I can still figure this out. Even if I'm stumbling, even if I'm dropping the ball, even if I'm messing up, even if I don't know 100% what I'm doing, I can handle this. I can figure out how to handle it. That's a sign you know your mind is working with you. Hey there, coffee lovers. Are you tired of settling for boring coffee? I have a treat for you. Today's episode is brought to you by Heartwork Coffee Bar, your one-stop destination for exceptional coffee experiences. Whether you're a coffee connoisseur or just someone who appreciates a great cup of joe, Heartwork Coffee Bar is here to elevate your coffee game to new heights. At Heartwork Coffee Bar, they take pride in their craft because each batch is carefully roasted to perfection, ensuring that every sip is a symphony of flavor. From the rich and the robust to the light and fruity, they have a coffee blend for every palate. And here's the best part. For you amazing podcast listeners, Heartwork Coffee Bar is offering an exclusive 10% discount on your purchase. Just use the code Empress10 at checkout and you'll save big on your order. Why settle for ordinary when you can indulge in the extraordinary coffee from Heartwork Coffee Bar? Remember to use code Empress10 for that special 10% discount and treat yourself to the coffee experience that you deserve. Don't miss out on this fantastic offer. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks to Heartwork Coffee Bar for making today's episode possible. Now go grab your favorite mug, brew a fresh cup, and enjoy the podcast with the perfect companion, Heartwork Coffee Bar. Cheers. But you know your mind is not working with you when you are freaking out, okay? When your thoughts are loud, when they're fast, when they're controlling, when you start planning like 5-10 years into the future, and not in a way that is calm. You're not looking at your like financial plan. You're like, okay, if I need to put this amount away for this time, then it will accrue this much. No, no, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like you're trying to take on all of your problems and solve them again, 10 years ahead. You're trying to figure out what you can do today that will solve a problem that's 10 years down the road. That's when you know your mind is not working with you, it's working against you. Another way that you know your mind is working against you is when you're criticizing yourself for not having it all figured out, which is a crazy thing. Like, let's actually think about this for a second. Our minds will just come up with stuff. We have so many garbage thoughts, and we need to make sure that we're not believing those garbage thoughts. We need to make sure that we're not giving those garbage thoughts more weight than they deserve. I have garbage thoughts too, and they're like just running in the background. I just don't pay attention to them. And I also do a lot of work around pulling them out, extracting them, putting eyes on them, so to speak, and then recognizing when they might be running the show or when I am giving them a little bit more time and energy than is helpful. I feel like all my ADHD girlies will like really get this, but my mind is going all the time. I don't have the kind of mind that can ever be quiet. Some people do, but if you don't, I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with you. You can have clear insight even with a very busy mind. Having the loud, fast, controlling mind is different than just having a mind that's going all the time. Some of us are just way more in tune with our inner narrative, and some of us are just way more in tune with the garbage that our inner narrative has, and that's fine. We just have to remember that we don't have to sit in that space of figuring every single thing out. We don't have to plan every single thing. When all of our decisions start to feel like they're from this panic or this like rushed state, that's a sign that we're not in our higher mind, that we're not using our clear insight, that we're playing smart, but that's not actually the smartest thing that we could be doing. Or we're not thinking the smartest way. And I talk about this with my therapist too, but it's helpful because once we know that, right? Once we can kind of check in and we can clock that our mind is fast and it's controlling us, then we can kind of say, oh, you know what? My body might be in a fight or flight place. When our mind tells us, why even try? It's not worth it. We can also know that we might be in a freeze state. So knowing what our mind is telling us is helpful, and being able to calm our nervous system and being able to calm our mind will give us access to those higher thoughts, those thoughts that we really want to be thinking. And a thought we want to be thinking might be something like, oh, I'm going to pause right now. Oh, maybe I need to listen to myself right now. I'm going to check in to see how this actually feels for me. Your mind can be less aggressive over time, but it does take some practice because we want to create space for insight to arise. We don't want to try to control our way into insights. There's a really good practice that can help you get grounded, and it's called orienting to now. And basically all you do is look around the room. You don't even have to do like a big wide view. You can just look at things to your left. You can look at things to your right. And then you can name 3 things that you see. You can identify 3 sounds that you hear and 3 points of contact between your body, the ground, or your seat. And this helps your mind actually understand that you're safe. And this also lets your body know that you're safe. Because orienting is all about being exactly where you are and meeting yourself there. Because if you're planning 5 years into the future and you're doing it from a panicked and rushed state, you're telling yourself that you're not safe. And realistically, you're not 5 years into the future. You're right here, right now. And so meeting yourself where you're at does require the skill set of becoming grounded or orienting, but it's not that difficult. It just takes a little practice. So hopefully 3 things you see, 3 things you hear, and 3 points of contact between your body and the ground or your body and the seat is what's going to help you orient and become familiar with the process of checking in and what it feels like in your body to be safe. The King of Swords is also a really good decision maker. Remember when I said that we talk about what we do know and what we don't know? We're going to use some of those questions to also do a gut check. So, one of the questions that we can ask ourselves, and this is a higher minded question, this is a wise question that will help illuminate clear insight. The question is, what do I already know? This next one, I love asking myself this because I find myself, when I'm avoiding things, this is a great question to call ourselves out with. And it's, what do I feel pulled towards and what do I feel pushed away from? So there are times when, shocker, I should be doing some work, but it's the last thing I want to do. And I'm like being productively unproductive. Do you guys know what that is? Like when, there's a big project that you're facing and instead of getting down into the project, you're like, I'm going to do the dishes. I'm going to sweep the floor. I'm going to do all this other stuff, which like has to get done. So you're still being productive, but you're not being productive in a way that's like towards the greater project or the thing that you're feeling pushing away from, like the resistance to. And there's no judgment, right? This is just information. We're doing a gut check. That's all that this is. We're letting our answers arise. We're not forcing them. So if you find yourself having to sit for like 30 seconds, a minute, even a couple of minutes, that's fine, because what you're doing in that space is so important. You're listening. This is what the King of Swords does really well. He listens. He knows what wisdom feels like, what it sounds like, how it moves through him. But if you don't give yourself the time and space to practice, then you will not be able to identify that clearly. I also have another tip for you guys from Irene Lyon's Nervous System Education. Her stuff is so good. I highly encourage you to honestly check out everything that she has. She's amazing. But she does this thing where she's like, squeeze your fist for 5 seconds, like really, really, really tight. Okay, I'm doing it for those of you watching me on camera. Okay, so you're going to squeeze for 5 seconds and then you're going to release. And then you just need to notice the difference. What you do here is teach your body to notice tension and ease. And you're not going to get stuck in either one of them. You're just going to notice, oh, I'm holding on to tension here. Okay, I need to relax. I'm feeling kind of relaxed. Okay, well, I need to actually maybe like tense up my energy or ramp up my energy so that I can get X, Y, and Z done. So they're all useful things, but when are we using them and are we using them unconsciously? This is what we get to unpack when we're doing the somatic experiencing. The King of Swords is asking us to bring clarity into our body, to feel our truth, not just think about it. Okay? That's what's so freaking cool about the King of Swords when it comes up. It's saying, okay, Girly Pop, you've been thinking about this for a while, right? But I need you to feel the truth. So you guys, when I was doing everything in social work, I kept having this massive resistance to entering the social work field. I was going on interviews. I was having really good conversations with people, but I still kept feeling like this is just not it for me. And then because I wasn't really listening to what I had in front of me, which was tarot reading, I was like, oh, I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out, right? And then I like sped myself up. So I wasn't feeling into my truth in a way that was showing me or revealing to me like, tarot is right in front of you, girl, just go for it. But I could feel that things weren't for me. And in some ways, that led me down the path that I was on. But I can't help but think maybe if I had slowed down earlier, I might have found out what I wanted sooner, but I didn't. And I'm here now and it's totally fine. Because like I said, the cool thing was when I knew tarot was for me, it just like, it clicked in my body. I felt it. I just knew with a really deep sense of certainty that like, that's what I wanted to do. There was just no other thing that made sense to me that felt like it was the right thing. And so in your day-to-day life, as you practice these things, you'll know that you're in that King of Swords energy throughout the month of July and afterward, when you're pausing, right before you go do something, when you're asking yourself questions that are helpful, okay? Not asking yourself silly questions like, I have to figure everything out. How am I going to do it? So throughout the month of July, I'm going to encourage you to make space for clarity to come up. It needs some room. So set a timer and tell yourself, I'm embodying the King of Swords here. This is my King of Swords vibe, or this is my King of Swords moment. Tell yourself it's King of Swords time. And what I want you to do in that moment or that time frame, set the timer for like 10 minutes. No phone, no news, no media, no podcast, no nothing. I want you to just be with you so that you can hear yourself. You can walk, you can lie down, you can sit, you can do whatever really, but like you need to be hearing yourself. And if you have a quiet mind, which honestly, lucky you, feel into your body. Notice what sensations are coming up. Notice where there is tension and notice where you feel really light or feel really open. If you do have a busy mind, you may need to set your timer for a little bit longer just so that your mind has a recognition of like, oh, this is like a quiet time or this is a decompressing time. And sometimes we do have to actively work on kind of like getting into the space of meditation or reflection or introspection. So again, with a busy mind, make space for it. Just say, yep, it's going to be loud, it's going to be noisy, whatever, but I'm still going to actively practice paying attention to what is arising in my body. And I did give you guys some examples of questions, but I mean, learn to ask better questions. If you can't ask good questions, there's tons of stuff online regarding critical thinking questions, open-ended questions. So another great question to ask yourself is, what would I do if I trusted myself? If I really trusted myself in this moment, maybe I would just stay in meditation for 5 minutes longer. Maybe I would just feel into my body for another 3 minutes. Maybe I would do this again later in the evening. Like the things that come out of asking ourselves these questions, they can be profound, but I think sometimes people are expecting to have every single answer be this big, profound, like aha moment thing. And it's not always that. It is just sometimes very simple, grounded guidance, but that's clear insight. Like, I think we need to make sure that we're not expecting something sort of like ridiculous and life-changing and miraculous to happen when we're checking in. We're just getting to know ourselves. We're just getting to know what it is that we need and what we're overlooking and how we can best serve ourselves and how our mind can best serve us day to day, moment to moment. Another really good question is, what feels clear even if it's hard? Because I'll tell you that becoming a tarot reader was very clear to me. Like I said, the moment it became clear, it was clearer than day. It was crystal clear. I knew it was going to be hard because I didn't have the same support and safety that, you have when you enter the workforce with like a 9 to 5 and benefits and a paycheck coming in steady because you're clocking in, that kind of thing. Like, so I knew it was going to be hard, but I also knew that it was the right thing for me to do. If you are a journal girly like me, you can write things down, obviously, and then move. So stretching, walking, doing anything to help yourself absorb what it is that you've just realized can be really helpful in integrating the information. And that's a big part of what the King of Swords is. It's embodied wisdom. And I have a little meditation that we can get into. Okay, so take a moment with me now. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine that the King of Swords is sitting across from you, not judging you, not analyzing, just witnessing you. The King of Swords sees your truth. He honors your wisdom, and he invites you to hold your sword with both hands, not to fight, but to honor what's real. Where in your life are you being asked to cut through illusion? What decision, what boundary, what conversation is calling for your honesty right now? Let that insight arise and let your breath be the ground that it rests on. And then get up, do a little dance, shake it out, and say, okay, that's my truth, and now I'm going to go live it. And that's an amazing thing, right? Like, your truth is sacred, and so you need to treat it as such. You're rooting yourself in a lot of love when you decide to listen to yourself and you decide to express what is true for you. July is about sharpening our discernment, letting our actions match what is true for us. cutting out the noise, right? The internal noise, the external noise. We're not here to be influenced by every single thought we have or every single thought that someone else has or their opinion. We're here to anchor into our own knowing and move, exist, express from that place. I'd also love to hear what clear insights came up for you or which ones come up for you as the month of July continues. Feel free to leave some comments. You can message me on Instagram as well. I'd be happy to chat with you. And I've got a super cool offer. It's a July forecast, just a cute little horoscope reading, but I put some time and energy into making a little zine. It's chef's kiss cute. It's on my website. It's a free download. And when you flip through it, it makes page sounds like pages turning. It's literally so cute. I can't wait to continue using that format as time goes on. I was doing a blog post, but just like I don't know, I just wasn't that thrilled about it. But this one, I think it's like so adorable. I love the aesthetics of it. And of course, it's the same high quality content that you're going to get from me. It's the same thing you've come to expect over time. So head over to my website. It's under the Starstruck and Spoiled horoscope section. That's where you're going to find it and all the future horoscope editions. Thank you so much for being here today. Stay grounded in your insight, and I will talk to you later. Bye.